be one of those things where like you might never actually get to the result of like that perfect balance between whatever your political views are, or you might never get to, you know, uh, well, yeah, it's just to do the like the political one there. But you can still have faith in that system, even if you might not see that perfect result that you want. You can just see maybe little steps along the way, moving towards something that seems better based on your political views. Like, wouldn't that like be similar to somebody following kind of like a religious ideology and slowly moving towards things where they act a certain way, they see small gains along the way that just reinforce it, even though they might never see the result at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in politics especially, imagine a person who has a political ideology like a strong belief in Marxism or communism or something. They might believe that, yeah, sure, people are selfish around us now, but if we lived in a proper communist society, um, uh, where from each according to his ability to each according to his needs is actually a reality. If we lived in that kind of world, people would change. Their psychology would change. What we think is fundamental human nature in the form of avarice and greed and acquisitiveness and stuff like that, um, that might just be a product of the material conditions and material economic conditions. And if we lived in a proper communist society, then people's fundamental psychology and dispositions and attitudes towards other people and attitudes towards property would change, and it would all be hunky dory, right? Now that I think is an article of faith, right? And what keeps people going in that is they might look to a country that has socialized healthcare like Canada, a single payer system like we have, and they might look at people in Canada and go, well, hey, people in Canada generally don't seem too upset that their tax dollars, that they pay more in tax dollars because they're satisfied by and large by the fact that people who need healthcare get it and are not ruined economically by the fact that they have the misfortune of getting sick or being in an accident or something like that, right? Whereas in the U.S., a lot more people, a greater percentage of people, are like, hey, man, healthcare is every individual's responsibility. And you shouldn't tax me to ensure that other people who are, might be living an unhealthy lifestyle, smoking, overeating, not exercising, and stuff like that, so that they get the benefit of my tax dollars, right? So that a Marxist might look at the difference in attitudes between two different populations, one of which better approximates the Marxist ideal, and say, yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that sort of nudges me along the way to think that the Marxist ideal is true, that Lenin was right, that the state will wither away, and we won't need it, and we will build the socialist psychology. We will build the socialist man. That doesn't exist now, but it will once the economic material facts of society have changed, right? So I think that does happen, right? And as long as you have some reason along the way, then you're fine. Although, but in the passage of in Hebrews in the New Testament that we were talking about a moment ago, that there doesn't seem to be a hint of that. There's no listen, believe now and you'll get a little evidence along the way towards the greater conclusion of the passages. That chapter seems to be suggesting, or that chapter and the chapter before it seem to be suggesting something quite different. Namely, you just have to have faith, period. That will provide evidence, but as Millennial was saying, it might not even happen in a lifetime. Right? You're not entitled to experience evidence along the way in dribs and drabs that warrants the larger conclusion, the full commitment and confidence. Right? You're just supposed to trust. The model of faith that's extolled in that chapter of Hebrews is, to my mind, faith understood as loyalty, right? As allegiance. You pledge loyalty. You pledge your allegiance to God, and that means you just trust that He will deliver the goods. And it might not be in this world; it could be just in the next. Now, that I think is fundamentally different than someone who with a political ideology who gets encouragement from a study here, a study there, comparing and contrasting various societies and how they organize themselves and the effects that that has.
if you don't mind, I
Right,
would like.
and there's also like a confirmation bias as well too, because you take a look at something like like healthcare systems that are successful in some countries that have that lean a little more towards like a socialist healthcare system. But then you can take a look at systems where it things have collapsed, with like things like Venezuela. But you just kind of like rule you push those ones out and just take the confirmation bias for the good things as continuing factors to fuel that faith that you have in that political system.
Yeah, absolutely. It's entirely possible that a person can be irresponsible in their counting, the weighing of the evidence. They could just be discounting everything that is a counterexample and playing the no true Scotsman game, right? So of course that could happen, but let's assume the best here. Let's sort of steelman this. Let's assume that the person is being responsible and stuff like that. In one case, in the sort of the political ideology, I think most people actually proceed, with their biases. But even if they were, not engaged in, selective attention to evidence, right? They are at least still engaged in evidence gathering for confirmation, or at least corroboration towards the larger confidence and conclusion, right? Whereas the sort of the biblical concept of faith in the book of Hebrews seems to be at odds with that. It's confidence on the installment plan. It's you get the evidence later. Believe now and believe fully. No, you don't have to have any reservations, and don't expect any corroboration along the way. You're not entitled to that because this is not a duty to the truth. It's a duty to God. Right?
That's right.
So let's say it differently there. Your duty is to God. Your duty is not to yourself and generating a true belief that's warranted, right? And that's not what the aim in this passage is. It's something else. So it's a different epistemology. I think a terribly flawed epistemology, a disastrous one. But
I mean, like when it comes to religion, there's one thing that I disagree with, like heavily, is basically that things are basically transgenders. Like about like how like transgenders like they're like person or whatever. Like
sorry, Mini-Wheats, I can barely hear you. Can you speak up?
Yeah, Mini-Wheat, you're inaudible.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah, a microphone goes in front of the mouth, not the butthole. Okay,
No, can you hear me now? Is it better? Or no?
Oh, it got worse.
Yeah. Are you using a microphone on your webcam, or are you using a microphone on a headset?
Headset.
All right, you understand? Like, is it one that comes in front of your mouth, or is it a little stick kind that goes on the side?
It's like literally near my mouth. Is this
all right, then don't swallow it.
Okay.
Pull it out of your mouth a little bit. Yeah, just adjust it at the front.
Okay, is this better?
If you're too quiet, everybody else can turn.
Yeah, it's like everyone in your house sleeping or something. That's why you're whispering.
It sounds like I'm whispering.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to be really quiet because everyone around you can hear you.
Well, actually, that's cool. If he talks at the same level and doesn't have that static going on, we can all just turn him up. God help us if he decides to holler.
Yeah, just don't go screaming, okay?
Yeah, don't go screaming at us, and we'll turn you up and be able.
Okay, so y'all can still hear what I'm saying, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I just disagree in the transgender stuff about how religion is so strict about it.
Okay. Is religion what like are we talking about Christianity? I don't know that Christianity says anything about.
Well, whatever religion is really strict about it, because I think I have a study is a citation of proof.
And I can go find you a study in the citation that shows that beer gets you drunk.
Actually, I'm in the process of proving that right now.
Oh, you're just getting complementary evidence and experiment?
I mean, you gotta have multiple sources, right? Like, what good is it if you've just read it? Now I'm your homie and I'm sitting here telling you, yeah, that beer shit, it works.
Yeah, I have multiple citations to prove.
Okay, well, why don't you post them here in the general chat?
I just don't understand Mini-Wheat's point. Mini-Wheats, I'm not understanding what your point is.
How does this relate to the conversation we were having?
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, mini weeds. Feel free to like post that stuff there in the side chat, but just to close off this conversation here, or at least kind of keep it relatively on track what we were talking about. I think that one of the one of the points that I was kind of bringing up that I disagreed with Laura on this is that the concept between religious faith and and other types of faith out there. I think that it's really easy to kind of point and say this like, oh yeah, sure, I have faith, but I don't have religious faith, as if that's we're talking about a different concept here. And the definition that they used when she was kind of illustrating the point was they're different concepts, but not the way that people are kind of using them even in this conversation. That there's faith that has to do with a strong degree of trust or confidence in something, and then there's faith as describing nothing more than just a set of beliefs that someone has in like a religion. Like so, like when we say that someone belongs to the Christian faith, they're using faith at that point in time as almost synonymous with religion itself. So to be part of a faith, could be to be part of a religious organization. Or to follow, like the things within that organization. We're talking now not just about a single situation of faith. We're talking about the set of beliefs that make up what we would look as a religion. So, it's like I said, it's the difference between having faith and having a faith. And, that in the context that we're using this conversation, that we're using faith, we're always talking about that strong degree of trust and confidence that we have in something. And the examples that we bring up, okay, well, I'm going to lend this guy $10, because you're putting this as part. There's a chance that you might not get it back. There's a chance you will, but you're gonna lend that money the first time based on faith, because you're going to be sending it out due to nothing. There's nothing that really supports it. You're just kind of throwing it out there, and you're going to see, test it. And I think that is the concept in which we are using faith in this conversation. But the step that we go further afterwards is to ask for all the reasons in which we justify that faith. And in the case of like with religious doctrine, the example that we're talking about here with Ozzy is that I agree that when most religious people refer to faith in the sense of like their faith in God or the faith that they have towards their beliefs, there's something that they're putting trust and confidence in something which they may never see any type of rewards for. There's going to be no payout for it. But I think that's the same for all cases of faith. The initial case of faith, like after you lend money to somebody and they pay you back, the next time you lend money to that person, is it still based on faith? Or is it only happen to that first time? We act in faith all the time, where we have a strong degree in confidence in something, for no reason. And so to try to separate that, the concept of faith that somebody has today in God with ways that we might apply faith on a day-to-day basis, I don't think that there's any difference. I don't think there's any special, qualification that goes into the, different types of faith in those cases.
But I think the big difference is, though, whenever we use these examples, like, you're going to have faith that your mom will buy you a bike. You're going to have faith that this person is going to give you this money back. Is that you have an actual person there that you can physically, the guy in this other country is. So it's...
Well, if I can, that's why there's, and I was wanting to add this too. We talked about faith from the receiver side. Faith from the actual, giver side. There's the what you think that your mother gets from it? What do you think that God gets from it? Because from what I see is that, you start what I was talking about before, when you start off with a mustard seed of faith, that faith is based off principle. That, let's say, the principle from him even the principle for him even starting this faith thing with you is that you do get to the point where you say, hey, no matter trial, no tribulation, it's, it's about the relationship. And then you get to the point where, like, I think it was Paul who said, what shall separate me from the love of Christ? Shall trial, shall tribulation. Now he done moved from the point of, hey, I didn't get this, or I didn't get that, I didn't see this happen, and see that. Evidently he done moved from that point of faith to the point where he's like, hey, nothing shall, I got to the point of this relationship between me and God where I've used my faith, and nothing shall separate me, because I have an assurance now in who he is. So that's why we say, if you don't know him, seen him. That's why I gave you the example of not knowing my dad. If I never seen him, and then I picked up the phone, I picked up my Bible, and I say, hey, guess what? I would like to get to know you. Like the conversation I told you I had with God. God, I don't know you, but I would like to get to know you if you're up there. So I just started trying some of the stuff that he said. And so that resembles to the bank and pick up the money because he said it was there. So now, and then one thing about truth, if it's true, and that's, like I said, and that starts with the baby steps. And then at some point, you ain't gonna be like, okay, well, God, show me this. I gotta see this. I gotta see that. I gotta see that.
And that's
It's gonna be,
precisely what
hey,
I was telling you. My experience is exactly the opposite of
yeah.
of doing that exact same thing. Like we think very much like you, and that was my reasoning in searching for God.
That's the exact same reason why I told you I would like to talk with you, so we can get some type of because there was something else that I pointed that you said that difference. But I would like to get to talk to you, and you tell me some of the, that's why I say give me an example of something that happened where you didn't see. And because things that there's things that you might not you just missed it.
No, the example is pure and simple. I opened my heart and said, "Here, look at all my doubt. Let me know. Let me know you. Let me be sure."
Mm-hmm.
And there was
You don't
nothing
have
there.
to give them here now. I think we live
No,
too.
I have nothing to hide in front of
Okay.
anybody, nor am I like I owe no allegiances to anybody, nor do I fear telling the truth about my experience.
Okay.
Oh, I swear fealty to the Dragon Lord. Oh, Dragon Lord.
Would you?
Oh, great Dragon Lord, the wife take.
I
Yeah,
swear
I think
filthy to the Dragon Lord.
I can say this. I think a lot of time that also one thing that I believe that also hinders us is when it comes to having faith, our own plan. There's God's plan. There's our plan. Like when I first got married, my idea was like, hey, guess what? We're gonna have fun. We're going on cruises, this, that, and the other. And it didn't turn out like that. Upset, and I was like, God, well, I didn't get what I wanted. I mean, I was supposed to have fun, with my life. I was supposed to, and so, but my life turned out to be much more than what I thought it was going to be.
And I had to do the same thing. Sounds God, right? One of the big fears and the big issues and problems for me was how am I going to be a moral person? How am I going to construct my ethics without God? And that turned out to be rather easy. You just you read, you research, you think, and you either decide to be a good person or you don't.
I got something that I think is very interesting that I'm gonna put down here in the chat that I think you can probably will um It's about the ways of finding truth. And I only kept it because I was doing the same thing. But he's a well-known guy. Looking on my computer right now. So if anybody want to say anything, go ahead. Yeah, you know it. I like it.
All right, I'm back. I sent it 3 citations of proof in the general chat. Citations of the more close to half of transgenders commit suicide.
And again, how does that relate to the conversation we're having? I'm not trying to knock you. I'm just checking if you're just coming in with your own conversation.
Well, I
and
thought we
ignore
ended it,
everybody
but I
else.
mean, I don't know.
Okay, but you also, what you linked was one study and then 2 newspaper articles referencing the same study.
Yeah, but
Just
I just want to challenge. I want to
okay.
challenge like you guys of like what do y'all think of transgenders?
I
What do
think they're
and
humans and they
Like
deserve
hardcore
every
religious
human
people,
right.
like hardcore.
I'll tell you what I think about transgenders. I think they're people just like everybody else.
Woohoo!
I think that transgenders has an issue with God just like everybody else. People who are Christians, and the Bible says, if any man say that he's not sinned, he has not sinned, then he's a liar.
Many ways.
And
Do you think there might be not to interrupt you, but do you think there's like an environmental factor to why transgender people commit suicide?
It's because like society doesn't really treat them well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I got a video of a guy who says, just look up, I want my gender back. A guy, look, he's kind of with tattoos all over him, and he'll tell you that 90% of all suicides are from transgenders about the mistake that they made than anything.
I mean,
well,
he was
just to the environmental point. I'm sure you guys have brought this up before, or that you've heard this rebuttal to that brought up before. Now, okay, not my position, but just for the people that want to cite environmental factors for that, is that the rate of suicide amongst transgender people is higher than those of Jewish people in concentration camps or slaves during the Pan-Atlantic slave trade in the U.S. Are we saying that the environmental factors facing transgender people nowadays would put them off in a worse off situation than them, which makes it more likely?
I would figure that you guys would say something like, "Oh, well, like because there's a lot of hardcore religious people out there like that will like."
Have you heard any hardcore religious people in here? Many weeks. Do you know where you are?
Yeah, okay, fine. How about this? How about this?
Well, I mean, sorry. Before we jump on mini wheats there, like just for the people that cited environmental factors, what is the common response to that to show that the only other demographics that we can compare to high suicide rate to are people with mental illnesses, like like people that get diagnosed like schizophrenia. Is like the only other demographic of people that even come close to having the same type of suicide rate.
In both of those situations, it is not the environmental factor, as in the environment is forcing them to kill themselves by acting upon them. It is the interchange of what they are and what the environment is. That is to say, the environment is not suitable for them. And that same thing goes for a lot of mental illnesses, where we are literally not handling it that well. We are ostracizing people. We are treating them as though they are subhuman in some ways, damaged in some ways, both for mental illnesses and for being transgender, as though that's something wrong. And even though it's getting more accepted, it's still not.
But it is getting more accepted, right?
Yeah.
Can I say
So
this?
has there been a decrease in the rates that we know of with more acceptance?
I don't know.
I mean, like, can you
I
guys?
want to say this. People, even when it comes to, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. But the thing is, even Christians, I play my game. People don't always believe what I say. If you're talking about the negativity, everybody gets that. That's not stopping.
Yes.
Or whether I'm a Christian, this or that, people gonna talk. You can't stop that. You can't
No, you
make
can't.
somebody like you because of you're transgender. I can't stop somebody from liking me if I decide to become a Christian, a Buddhist, or anything else like that. You got to accept when you decide that you made a decision that you was going to do something that percent of the people was going to be against you, right or wrong.
Well, just going back to your original statement about your anecdote on YouTube, where the I guess the trans male, I think you were invoking mention. I don't know if he was. I don't know if he was a researcher of some kind to. I don't know what experiment he did to show how 90% of transgender people regret it because of the mistake they made or whatever. It tends to be it's more than just people not liking them. They have a serious issue with discrimination on a number of levels. Also just the harassment they get just for accepting themselves for who they are. I mean, like, they're called freaks. They're denigrated upon. They're like, a lot of them have even, like, there was even I think there was a kid, bro. What was it? Brojo not too long ago was talking about how like if we accept them, like, it's the same as accepting pedophilia or some crap. Like there's a lot of bullshit in society that contributes to that.
Yeah, but look who you're talking about there, Wolf King.
I think what I'm saying is none of this stuff does not happen. But let's say, for example, me and my family, now I have 6 kids, right? Down the street, and if it be if it's all of us, they're like, "Oh, you got that many kids? Oh, I can't believe it." Hate because you are different. Whether it's what God believes or what He wants or not, when you decide, like I said, when you decide to do something different, be it right or wrong, don't make a big deal about it. Accept it like the rest of us have.
I think you having a slightly bigger than average family is a little different than it's a little bit different than like the stuff that transgender people have to go through.
This is apples to oranges.
I mean, like,
that.
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm talking about. Dang it! Hold 1 second.
No, I think he pretty much just said that him having 6 kids is equivalent to the persecution that transgender people receive.
Transgenders, like, let me tell you something right now about transgenders.
Okay, let's just look at it as an analogy and not put that much.
That's what he said. I thought. I don't know.
What I'm saying is, let me try to clear this up. What I'm saying is, people will get on each different level, and if you're worried about what somebody says about you, then everybody will have the right to say, okay, well, I have to. You have to encourage. You have whatever you're doing. And how to say this? And I don't want you to. I don't think that I'm encouraging you to do wrong. It doesn't say, but my thing is like this here. Whatever you do, this is what you want to do. This is what you like. All this other kind of stuff. Even though I may disagree with it. Somebody comes at you, know that somebody is going to come at you and you're not going to like it. Whether it's out of the mouth of 20, 22, 50, 52, you still going to have to learn how to overcome
Yes.
whatever somebody say.
And that applies to all humans. That is the
All
human
humans.
condition. Yes, that's not the issue we're talking about, I think. So in the cases of becoming a part of a religion or rebelling against your family or rebelling against your upbringing, or yes, you in some ways go through the same thing, but in those instances you know that it's your decision, that you are fighting for something that you have decided to do and you are
Right.
prepared for. I strongly um, um, believe that for transgenders, it's having lived the entirety of their life denying what they are, and then having to assert it despite like even with the meager support of some part of the community, like having to worry even about the community looking at them as looking at it as though that's something that they're doing instead of merely recognizing something that they are. And that conflict of I am this and I am doing this is something which is really, really hard to resolve. And as I said, that goes the same way for
Everyone.
for people with mental disorders, for people like I don't
Put it to
I
you
don't
this.
mean mental deficiencies. I mean stuff like depression
I mean,
or
there's like hardcore like Discord religious servers where if you join and you mention like transgenders, everyone will like start like, jumping on you like
yeah,
friggin' like like shit, like it's crazy.
yeah, you're not in one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's crazy. Like it's nuts, man. Like.
Yeah, like mini wheats. If you find servers like that, like then just don't join them.
Disconnect. Just
Yeah, like just
disconnect.
leave, like
You don't have to join like every server that you come across, like because it's just there because
Everybody's
So-
not going to be on one accord and be mature enough to know how to handle a situation like that.
So what?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
So I'm about to say you'll have people that want to fight you and beat you up just because you say, "Hey, I'm gay."
no, you'll
And
have
that
people
don't make
want
me
to
want
beat
to
you
fight
up
you.
and
I'm
such
not thinking-
because you said hello.
Yeah, that's true.
exactly, exactly. You look funny. And that's a true story from where I come from. I can be walking down the street and somebody just you look at them funny and it's like, "What's up? It's time to fight." Past at all.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
We
that's
need
true
to
from-
discern right now who is the alpha in
Beta.
this
Oh
environment.
well, we all know that's me. Hi, I'm Jello. My name's
Nah.
Jello, and I'm alpha as fuck.
Now I'm gonna determine who's alpha right.
What's
Vinegar-based barbecue sauce.
What kind of po bar we?
like? There's you
That
know,
is the correct
A
answer.
Hey, oh, by the way, Greg, everybody here in this chat knows that I'm right and you're wrong as a motherfucker.
Right into my ass. You said 3 fucking things, man.
So I'm curious. So what was the point? It's like when you came in. Are you what is your position there? That you posted studies showing that the suicide rate of transgender adults. What are you trying to demonstrate here?
Oh, I'm just trying to demonstrate that like it's starting to become like a bigger issue than what it was like I think like a couple years ago. Like now like more of them starting to like the suicides like whoa shit, it went up from like 10 to 20%, 41%. You know what I'm saying? Like it went up from like just 10 to 20 to like close to 50. It's like, whoa, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Man, like all transgendered and bold, you know, they hang themselves or bold. It's like this is crazy shit. Like,
Well, they've reviewed causation of that, and most of it is directly related to victimization, not.
Are you sure about that, Mo? Like, can you point to any study at all that
Yeah.
shows? When,
Yeah, I got one right here. Hang on.
Yeah. So can you point to how about this? When homosexuals were highly persecuted in the United States, did their suicide rates get anywhere close to the rates that we see with transgender adults?
Say that again. You said what?
When homosexuals were being persecuted en masse in the United States, can you find any study that shows anything close to the suicide rate among transgender adults?
No, I think you misunderstood what I said. I think he was saying that the reason that transgender adults commit suicide is because of post-operative regret, whereas I'm saying that's not true. Most of it is based on victimization post-operative.
what do you mean by
Okay,
victimization?
but so are you okay? So, but here's the problem with that. Okay, is that can you point to any other class that has been victimized in recent history in the United States, or even going further back, around the world, whatever, that has suicide rates close to the rate you see amongst transgender adults?
I would expect that homosexuals would.
I expect homosexuals probably would be close, but like not with
all transgendered.
Yeah, I was about to say
nowhere close.
Right, but that's not
control, right?
That's not.
Socka's point is it would be a
Whoa!
control.
What the hell?
Okay, Iceman, is that you making the stupid noises? Okay,
get
Iceman,
off
you're out. You're out, Iceman.
Drag, is it okay? I come here and chill out with you guys sometime, talk some more.
Yeah, man,
absolutely. Whenever you want, man.
Yeah, actually,
We're
yeah.
always
So
right.
I gave you rank. You can access, damn near everything in here. You cool people, and you are my people. So yeah, feel free to come back in anytime. It doesn't have to be on air. It can be off air. If you just want to chill, we can come talk about Zydeco and Po' Boys and stuff. And that's fine with me.
All right, man. Y'all be good, man. See y'all later.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
the
nice talking
point
to you.
that I'm trying to illustrate the point that I'm trying to illustrate here is that we don't have there should be some type of as I think somebody said it, some type of control group, okay, that we can point to where we can say, when people are victimized, when a protected class of people are victimized to a certain extent, we see a increase in the amount of suicides, okay, and I'm sure you can go back and you can see this. You can go back and you can see suicide rates amongst, like, say, Jewish Holocaust victims, black slaves, or homosexuals in America, at the height of the persecution. The problem is that amongst all those groups that were highly victimized, you don't get close to the suicide rate that you get with transgendered adults. The only thing that
you're making my point for me. I don't understand.
Like, hold on a second, Mo. The only group that comes close to that is adults with mention. Well, that doesn't pay out. You don't see that.
No, I think you're completely missing my point. Completely. All I said was he was saying that 90% of the reason that transgender people commit suicide is because of post-operative regret. That's not.
And I disagree with that as well. But it's not because of victimization.
Based on reasons or what?
Based on exactly the reason that I just laid out, is because what you see.
Is there something wrong with them mentally? They're schizophrenic, suicidal. Is that what you're saying, or I'm confused?
I'm saying. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Barney.
Not infer eating. Let's have a conversation, please.
No, that's what he just said. He said people who are transgender are
he said that
schizophrenic.
No, they said they share a trait. That does not mean that they are the same or have the same causes.
Right. Well, Barney, maybe he has a problem with common ancestry. Have you had every discussion with him?
So who was it? Socka. One thing that jumps out of me, why I said that I would expect homosexuals to have the same rates, is that the example of Jews in concentration camps and other persecuted minorities was that they had communities around them, that they were brought up secure in what they are, and had group identity reinforcing what they are, right? Whereas both for mental disorders, and again, I'm talking about stuff like depression, you are alone. Your family doesn't share your identity. Your social circle doesn't share your identity. If you're going to find somebody who is going to understand and support you, it will have to be a complete out group, because your community will not be able to share in what you are. You will be an outcast by default. Right?
Thanks a ton, Barney. You just made me think about my life in my family status and depressed the hell out of me. Thanks. Thank you for that.
Well,
I
you know what?
appreciate
And that might be a legitimate point. But that's what you just described there.
It's
Isn't
mean.
victimization.
It's mean and it's nasty, and I'm kind of upset at Barney for saying it.
I'm sorry?
My feels are hurted.
Jello, I was going to ask, are your feels hurted?
Yeah.
Did Barney hurt your feels?
I'm offense.
You know what would make it better? If you went and made yourself a bacon sandwich.
Oh, bacon.
Bacon and tomato. Just bacon and tomato.
No, bacon. I mean bacon because bacon. Like that,
Yeah,
that's
bacon makes
the
everything
argument.
better.
I don't care what you were about to say, Socka. Bacon.
Yeah, screw
because
this
bacon.
cookie thing. Just go get a bacon sandwich.
And you know why you would have another argument besides me, Socka? Because you're Canadian and don't know what fucking bacon is.
Oh, Jello, just grow up there.
Oh, wow.
We know exactly what bacon is in Canada.
I love. Oh, that's so sweet. That's
you call it ham. Like
Ozzy,
you can't even just call it
you're
what it is.
adorable, and you're a very smart man. And I would never challenge your intellect, but you don't know what bacon is.
Yes, we do. Our bacon and your bacon is.
Our
It's you
bacon-
Americans who call ham Canadian bacon.
Well,
we don't
really,
call
listen,
ham Canadian bacon. We call
Canadian
ham
bacon. You know
Call
that
it back bacon.
Isn't it called?
after eating Canadian
No,
bacon,
all
you
right,
know
guys,
that it's
guys,
ham.
listen. You're confusing yourself here. Okay, in Canada, we call what Americans call ham back bacon, and yes, that is also pea meal bacon. Pea meal bacon is back bacon that has been rolled in pea meal.
Right.
Which
But
now
it's
it's
not
actually rolled in a
delicious
cornmeal because it's cheaper than a
goodness.
pea meal, but it's beside the point.
But it's
Okay.
just not delicious bacon unless it's smoked.
Hell yes, it's delicious.
You
Wait a
gotta
second, wait a second, wait a second.
Enough to put on a burger
gotta
and
let
your
that
eggs.
shit
It's
soak,
great.
and you need a
Jello,
shot
the point you're
of
missing.
salt.
Jello, the point you're missing is that you know that smoked, that hickory smoked stuff that you call bacon, those strips. Do you know what we call that in Canada? Bacon. We don't call it anything else. We don't call it a kind of bacon. We don't call
Fuck. Oh my god.
nobody here call bacon.
It's
Bacon.
something- it's
Pea meal.
Bacon identity wars.
That's right.
I'll be done.
Actually, I want to say something about the idea of victimization that you were talking about, Barney. Socka, I think, said, I think it was Socka who said, that, I don't think that's victimization. And I agree, I don't think that's victimization. But it's still a lack of acceptance, right? And it would still feel punitive. It would feel like a rejection or a repudiation by people, right? And it would be isolating and stuff like that. So I don't think it would be any form of oppression. It wouldn't be any kind of deliberate.
Well, that's why I got confused because I was trying to make
From
just
my understanding, that is what is called systemic oppression. Right?
Yeah,
when the environment is set up in such a way to be disadvantaged.
Oh shit! Y'all can hear that. I'm muted.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
muted in the
that's
hangout, but I forget y'all can still hear me.
Anybody's intentional harm towards that person. It's
Yeah,
not that somebody's.
that's a misuse of the word victimization and oppression, and that's the problem I have with. That's a figurative use of it.
I haven't had anything to eat for like the last 4 hours. Give me a break.
It is.
They're looking for ways to get themselves oppressed. So they can be victims.
Can I just say
come
real quick?
on?
Can
It
I
is
just say
just
real
the fact that person is enduring harm.
Yes,
can I just
yes. I think we would agree. Well,
I think
I
there
don't
is
think it's any less injurious. I just think that it's an illegitimate use of words like oppression and persecution, and right. I mean, there's a million ways to be excluded and made to feel bad and to feel repudiated and stuff like that without invoking the concept of oppression and persecution. Oppression and persecution. I mean that's a very very
I know
diabolical thing. Whereas I think someone who just disciplines.
I know that those words have gotten a bad rap in the current context and conversation, but look at it from the perspective of the said victim of persecution and victimization, as I have described them, right?
Yeah, and actually, I agree with.
Wait. What is happening to them is purely social. It is
right.
It is being acted upon by their environment, by their community, right?
Yep.
Nobody's
no, it's all a prejudice. It's all prejudice.
Yeah.
I think it's all pernicious. It's all pernicious. I think it's a social evil.
I'd like to ask Ozzy a question. Ozzy, when you rent an apartment and you don't pay your rent, what is the eventual likelihood that will happen to you?
Eviction. I'm apt to be evicted.
Right. Now, if you're a transgender and you rented an apartment and you didn't pay your rent, what is the likely aptitude? What would likely happen to you?
The same thing.
Okay, so what was the cause of you being evicted?
Well, presumably not paying my rent. Well,
because you're transgender. Which is it?
Well, in the scenario you described, obviously.
Yeah. See, it doesn't matter if you don't pay your rent, you get evicted. It doesn't matter who, what, or how you define yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why I say it's oppression points. Something bad happens to them, it's because of X, not because of all the other mitigating factors that they did or did not do.
Yeah, can I return to the sorry, go on. Issue? Can I return to the earlier issue?
Go ahead.
So I mean, I don't know if Socka's still in the room. Yeah, okay. Geez, there's a lot of people in this room right now. So Socka was saying he doesn't think that that's oppression or persecution, right? But it would be nevertheless awful to be isolated and to not feel accepted for the person that you see yourself to be, right? And to have people deny that and talk you out of it, or shun you, or however else they treat you, or just look down on you, or something like that. They wouldn't even have to shun you. They can invite you to Christmas and dinner and Thanksgiving dinner, but if they, if you can sense the disapproval coming off of them the whole time, then that's going to be pretty miserable, right? So I don't think Socka would disagree with that. My feeling would be this: with respect to someone who's transgendered, there'd be a difference that would with a difference from homosexuality that would go a long way to explaining the high suicide rate, and that is that person who's trans who starts transitioning usually have in mind a certain social role that they want to occupy, mainly the social role of the opposite sex, right? They want to pass for female, or they want to pass for male. They want their body to look a certain way. They want to be treated a certain way, and so forth. Now, if you undertake this process, if you start to transition, okay, and it doesn't go very well, right? If it takes inordinately long and the gains are minimal, right? And if you don't pass because of your size, your voice, your facial features, or anything like that, then that's going to be highly disappointing. And so I think that one of the things that happens with post-operative transsexual people is that they're just massively disappointed, as you would expect them to be. It just doesn't always work as well as they would hope, and so the dream is coming true, but it's not coming true the way they wanted. Right? And I think that's different.
Instead of transitioning from man to woman, you transition from man to a transgendered person.
Right. Well, that's why so many, exactly. Like, I mean, it seems to me that we ought to be able to say, look, there are men, there are women, there are trans men, there are trans women. But most people who are trans don't want to be called trans men and trans. they aspire to be called just men and women, and they would like to insist that there's no distinction that can or should be made, and that any such distinction is somehow prejudicial. I don't think that any such distinction is prejudicial. I think it's just factual, but that's my bias there. But as a result, you can imagine if you've been working for years and you've made painful sacrifices, literally painful sacrifices, physically and emotionally, and at huge expense, and then you just don't look very much like the sex that you want to be after that. That's got to be crushing, right? It'd be like someone who has been blind their whole life, and they eye implants, eye transplant, and they don't see very well, or don't see at all, because it in fact happens with people who get eye transplants. Sometimes that they just aren't able to see very well because their brains are already fully formed, and they don't learn to see. You have to learn to see starting in infancy, and they sometimes are very, very seriously depressed because they have staked so much on the success of the procedure, and then the procedure results in an enormous disappointment. So that alone, I think, would account for a huge number of people who feel suicidal and attempt suicide.
All right, so mind if I ask, who in here is like a Christian or like religious, very religious?
Nobody.
I think you might have better success asking people. I think you might have better success asking people what they believe or think.
Okay, because I was gonna ask, like, like what would you do in a situation if like you had very religious like friends that wanted to jump your son because he's a transgender? Like, what would you do or whatever? I just wanted to see what they would say. But I don't know.
I would say don't do that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Obviously, that's criminal. That's a criminal act, and you obviously shouldn't do that. But I mean, I would tell my children not to jump anybody, no matter what. Like,
are you expecting a different answer from Christians than normal people, or what?
Like, I think
Normal
I've asked a
people.
couple of this, and they would say it depends. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, come on, like, I mean, like, it depends. So if they're saying that if some people wanted to jump your son because he was transgender, you would let them? I mean, come on, like, that's just weird.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a person who self-identifies as a Christian who would say, "Yeah, I think it's okay to fag bash or bash trans people or something like that, just because they're gay or just because they're trans or something like that." I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find it. I mean, it goes on, obviously, but the point is, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who'd answer, "Oh yeah, I think fag bashing is just fine."
Even those that believe that they are deranged.
Careful, Ozzy. We are live and recorded. That might get clipped.
What? Oh, because I said the word fag?
No, when you just said you thought fag bashing was okay, you might get clipped. So careful what you say.
I'm not saying clip that and repeat it and put it on a 10-hour loop, but if you do...
Don't give people ideas. Don't give people ideas. I've been clipped so many times.
I'm just saying, be careful what you say today.
Yeah, well, I'm not one to sort of worry about the words that I use, but thank you. I appreciate the concern. I know that happens. It's already happened to me a few times. The humorous effect.
It's like camps where they kidnap gays and trans, and then they put them in these religious camps, and then they like torture them and shit, and then try to make them.
Yeah, it's called Pray the Gay Away, and usually it's mommy and daddy who send the kid there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to kidnap them. You just tell them to go to summer camp or Disneyland.
Yeah, Mike Pence
like, if your son was gay, would you guys be honest, or like if they were transgender, like would you care?
I would definitely give a shit, but no, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't object, but I wasn't.
No, man.
Kids.
It's like if I had a son that was trans, I would probably have to worry about the people that would want to jump him and stuff. Like.
Yeah, you would have to worry about.
Always protect him most of the time.
Yeah, I would
quiet,
say,
mini weeks.
Yeah, you are pretty quiet. I would say that's your like, if people wanted to attack your children for any reason, you'd be concerned.
Exactly.
But that would be a reason to actually be concerned. That wouldn't be an imaginary reason.
I mean, like I was reading YouTube videos of like some serial killers that like hated gays and transgenders, and I was thinking, well, man, like. Maybe there's people. I don't know. There's people out there that like actually hate transgenders, or they want to like that. Like, I mean, like, what the fuck?
I don't know what you're getting at, but yeah, okay.
I mean, this
Is that like why?
used to say like you shouldn't let them be who they are because that'll put them in danger is just on point.
Well, I mean, what I'm
I,
trying to say
I don't
is,
see.
like, if my son was transgender, like, I would be happy for him.
You're really quiet, Minnie.
Like, I would be happy if my son was transgender. I mean, I would be happy for him. I wouldn't like give a shit. Care like if my son was trans.
Life is hard enough, and that just ugh.
Like, if my son's transgender, well, he's trans. You know, my son's gay. Well, he's gay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It would be easier for the gay part. You can kind of blend into society, but when you're trans, not as much.
Do you guys think we should forward Mini to G-Man's Discord?
oh no, I'm already in G-Man's Discord.
Yeah, I think it's how you found this one. So I mean, and I agree with Ozzy on this about
If we talk to some people that have the issue.
Oh, sorry.
Chrissy, would you like to chime in?
There you go.
I'd
You've
like
been sitting there rather
ask,
muted the
like,
whole
Pseudo,
time.
you're aware that... Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, you're aware there are places, like, you have to
Yes,
be aware...
I am aware of that, and that was not the point I was making.
Okay, because...
Okay. You okay? Or is that all you're going to say?
You kind of clipped them off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, you cut him off. I didn't even hear Chrissy finish his whole sentence.
Chrissy, can you repeat?
I don't know if I'm cutting out.
No, you're okay. We can hear you.
I was just saying, like, there are places like, even like women's shelters, and some people give justification for that for people. I mean, trans women who want to go to those shelters, they'll be denied. And people think that's okay, but that's just... It's, to me, the same reason why people are antsy about not letting trans women go into women's bathrooms because, they're going to be just dressing up as a woman, but they're a man who just wants to rape a woman.
Well, I think the whole bathroom thing is frankly ridiculous. I mean, no one's going to transition.
Well, that can be that can be applied to other areas, like, and I'm sorry if I cut this off, I'll get this real quick. As to like certain shelters, like for example, women's shelters, trans women will be denied.
Yeah, but I think that's not
access to
necessarily. Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily unrealistic. For instance, Megan Murphy, for instance, she's a Canadian feminist, and she talked about this. She's about instances of women who have gone to rape crisis shelters. These are women who have been raped. Obviously, there's no men allowed in the place. There, no male volunteers are allowed. No males answering the phone, right? There can't be any men involved here, right? This is a place where women who've been traumatized by having been raped, sexually molested by men, are seeking a place to hide out, right? Sometimes they've suffered years of abuse by a husband or spouse or a partner or something like that, including rape. And the last thing they want is to have a roommate who's a male, as they see it, right? And there was one sort of notable case in the news recently of a woman who said, "Listen, there is a pre-operative trans woman who's my roommate. Can we do something about this?" And she tried to complain, and she ended up on human rights abuse charges here in Canada. And that just seems to me preposterous, right? It just seems to me some other accommodation should have been made rather than taking a woman who's been victimized, who is a rape victim. I don't know if she was a rape victim. She might have been a domestic abuse victim or something like that. But obviously didn't feel safe around anyone who resembled a man. And she finds herself having to room in a shelter of this sort with someone who, to all appearances, is a man, sounds like a man, looks like a man, but who do anything to sort of try to accommodate this, like, okay, we'll put you in a different room or something like that. It was just, nope, that's it, too bad, right? So I think that there's some accommodation that needs to be made here, right? So I don't think that just because you self-identify as a person of the opposite sex that other people think you are, that this entitles you to everything. And the same argument I think goes for.
Wait, what do you mean by entitlement?
No, but
okay, that's my problem there. When you call it entitlement,
legal entitlement, what you're legally entitled to, right? Like a right.
I've helped at a women's shelter, and I've been in that community, and I don't know if it's a country difference, but the what's the word in English? Protege, the protected person. Yes, she can ask to have a woman removed.
Of course, I mean, no one should be required to room.
She does not get exposed to any discomfort beyond what she's currently going through, which is usually a custody fight, divorce, right, from a person who is physically threatening her. She is a protected person. The fact that you identify as a woman does not entitle you to impugn on that. I understand that some houses might not want to even take in transgendered people for the express purpose of, hey, that's one layer of complication that we are not capable of dealing with. But we didn't run into that. I think that at the house that I was working at, it would be handled by, yes, you are a woman and you get the same rights. If you have been abused, if you are in need of protection, you have the same rights as any other woman. But yes, you will get your own room, or if other people ask to be separated from you, they will get what they want, just the same as you would.
Okay, and Ozzy, for the thing, like, did the woman just want to like be moved to a different room, or did she want the trans person removed from the shelter?
I don't know. I just know that she got charged with a human rights violation for the request. Now I don't know.
Well, that's a bit extreme. If it.
Well, yeah, obviously it's extreme. Yeah, that's why I brought it up. Is this is sort of an egregious?
Like if it was just like
that's the failure. That's the failure of the personnel of the home. She should never have been exposed to that level of stress.
It's also a failure of the legislation in Canada that somebody could actually be brought up on a human rights violation for that.
Exactly.
No. It's when you don't put somebody who is going through that much emotional trauma, that moment or that time, into a situation where they have to be especially socially or politically sensitive.
Right? Well, the Human Rights Tribunal here disagrees with you. They think that you have no such entitlement to feel secure in that kind of shelter.
That's rubbish. Right? You literally can't. If you can't satisfy that, then you don't need to have a protective home. You don't need to run a shelter if you can't provide that. What is the meaning of the word shelter?
Like if it was just a case, I can understand it. Like I would have been okay if she just wanted to move into a different room and not be with the roommate because the roommate reminds her of her rapist or some shit like that. That's fine, but if it's just like, even then, I wouldn't say like you should like someone who was raped to be brought up on human rights charges. That's a bit too extreme.
Well, I think if a person is the victim of a rape and violating other people's human rights, then I think there's some legitimate grounds for saying it's too bad that you're a victim, but you're still guilty of human rights violations. So there might be some mitigating circumstance, and it's because there's this sense that where trans people are concerned, we need to sort of bend over backwards, and we have to absolutely honor their wish to be seen as a person of a certain sex, right? Even when everyone around them this person is not really of the opposite sex, even though everyone's being. I mean, obviously, this trans person was admitted as a woman to the shelter, right? So obviously, she wasn't being discriminated against in that way. It's not like she was, being told you're not allowed in. She was already allowed in.
Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Hey, I got a question. Since you know about this case, what was the person's name? What news article did you cite? I just need to know. Because it seems like you have some specifics, but not that many specifics. So what was the case? Like, so we can Google it.
Yeah, I can look it up. Just give me a few minutes. And
No. Before you continue to make your claim, can I just get the information so I can read the article too?
I don't know. Look up. You'd have to look up Megan Murphy, and she talked about it in a couple of videos, and I think possibly in a blog post.
I just offered to look it up for you.
Yeah, I just offered to look it up for you. But if you want to look it up, just look up Canadian Human Rights Tribunal, women's shelter, and trans. Google that. You should be able to find something with that. I mean, that's how I'd start looking it up myself. So but go ahead and look it up if you like. If you think I'm making this up, you can screw yourself.
What did he say? He said, "If you think I'm making this up, what?" He said,
You can go, I said you can go screw yourself.
oh, okay. I was like, I thought that's what you said, but I was just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, I
No, I'm just asking.
I'm certainly capable of mistakes about news reports and stuff like that, but I'm not.
Well, no, you told them to go look it up. I mean, yeah.
No, I'm just asking. Hear me out.
Everybody keeps crap saved on Google in their favorites.
No, hear me out.
Up at a whim's notice.
Hear me out. I'm not saying that you didn't hear the story from who you were told by the story. I'm just saying that we live in an age where people will use anecdotes as facts versus actually having the actual facts. And then they would have a platform where they will tell you, hey, this is a story that we had.
Sure. Well, I'll just recommend that you think that there might be some selective attention to information or something like that. Just say, hey, do you have a link to that? I'd be interested in looking it up, instead of phrasing it the way you did, which seemed to suggest that I was talking out my ass.
I might have to somewhat agree with that, whilst I do realize that maybe Crimson legitimately just wanted an article. Hi, Crimson, by the
way. The first question was okay. The second interruption of after
found it.
He said that he's gonna look it up for him. Like, no, you have to tell me now. What?
Yeah, well, that's what I found objectionable. Obviously,
that's kind of
for a link is fine, but the imputation that I need to have it at my fingertips already, and that when I offer to look it up,
Here, I found it.
It's not hard. It's not hard. Thank you. It's not hard to keep the intention there.
Oh, the National Post. Okay.
So I think we should.
I'm sorry. It's the best I can do at short notice. All right.
No, I wasn't complaining about the source.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well, somebody always has to complain about the source.
Yeah, I wanted to raise up the issue. Okay.
Go ahead.
Women who've been raped. What about transgender women who've been raped? Where are you going to put them?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Chrissy. Someone was over talking at the same time. Go ahead.
You put them into a shelter which can accommodate them.
Transgender women who have been raped. Are you going to put them in a men's shelter or a women's shelter?
No, I would put them in a women's shelter, obviously. Yeah.
You're going to put them into a shelter which will take them, which can accommodate them.
What did you say, Barney?
You put them into a shelter which will take them and which can accommodate them.
Yeah, when you just ask them where would you feel comfortable, and then go about it.
Right. Shelters are. Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know how it is outside Croatia. In Croatia, shelters are voluntary activist environments, and it's a mutually consensual relationship between the shelter and the protege. There is no law governing any of that.
Wait a sec, I'll be right back. I need to restart Discord because it's just choppy.
I need to find dinner myself, actually. I'll be back in a minute.
Like, you literally cannot enforce by law that a shelter has to take or isn't allowed to take somebody. Again, unless there's something really, really different, like if you have government shelters. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of people who care, who have shown that they have the appropriate expertise, who are receiving some funding, which is usually partially private, sometimes government sponsored, but it's not like a hospital or a jail or something which is like literally organized and run by the government.
So I found the article and I read it over for this case that happened in Toronto, and the only thing that I can see, so the woman's name is Christy Hanna. If anyone wants to look it up, 1 second, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the woman's name was Christy Hanna, and I think that the only difference between this was that she wasn't under the Human Rights Commission. They didn't file anything against her, but what they did was they refused to take her claim and told her that if she had gone through with it and continue to misgender this person, then she would be facing repercussions for that. So that's the main direction. But yeah, the situation was.
Yeah, I think that's almost certainly the same case.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why I'm asking, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just naturally like that. The thing about it is the way it was communicated, and I'm not saying you didn't communicate it as it was communicated to you. The way it was communicated is she faced charges for this. Here's my problem. When you're coming from a position where you want to rile up people against a certain type of community, that's when you see these, whoa, and this person did this person did that. She literally, I get it. She's been traumatized. I have a lot of women in life who've been traumatized. But the fact that you're reporting somebody else being an asshole, going to those violations, that is against the Human Tribunal or the Tribunal Commission, whatever it's called. She's actively being an asshole. Her friends even saying that she was actively being an asshole. It wasn't that she was, oh, I don't want to share this room, meek, calm, and collected. No, she was actively being an asshole about this. And so
she had been in a shelter for 7 months because of domestic violence.
Yeah.
And they moved her in with a person with a beard, full body hair, clap around in the army boots the entire time, can be overheard at meals talking about his their ex-wife, as well as referring to other people within the place as hot, in a women's shelter.
Sharing a bedroom is a whole different ballgame than sharing a public restroom.
Okay, real quick. This bedroom, this is at a women's shelter. I just want to check.
Yeah.
Okay. Because okay. And sorry if that's ingenuous. I just came back from the conversation.
Yeah. So I think that's it's a little bit different of a case of this woman apparently being an asshole or something. No, this is a legit this woman was uncomfortable in a place that was supposed to be that's supposed to help people, make them feel comfortable. That accommodation should have been made to put them in that situation, and I think that we all kind of agree with that. But the fact is, when she called in to try to make a complaint about this, saying that she felt her rights had been violated, and to a certain extent, I agree that they might have been in the way that this was handled. She was told, no, you can't file a complaint because you're the one that's actually in violation, and they hang up on her.
No,
that's not right. I'm sorry.
Wait. I didn't see that in there. I didn't see that in the article. Where did they just hung up on her?
Hannah called the Ontario Human Rights Legal Support Centre in an effort to file an official complaint, and said the person who took the call abruptly ended it out of concern that Hannah's repeated misgendering of her trans roommate by describing her as a man and using he/him pronouns to refer to her might result in a conflict of interest and discrimination complaint against Hannah herself.
Okay, so we're looking at the same data, and I get what you're saying. Please, no, I'm not being insensitive to our plight, but the fact is, this is where we're coming up to the disagreement. My thing is, I get it. You're fucking hurt. The first thing that you do with this is ask to be moved. But she's calling in to the human rights violations. One, she didn't get charged with anything. Two, she can say, "Hey, I'm uncomfortable with this situation. Please move me."
She was asked to be moved. She was asked to be moved, and she wasn't.
Yeah,
And
no,
then-
she had requested to be moved, and she wasn't.
And then the fact that she's calling
Yeah,
in
that's-
and actually following through with the whole situation of she's being the asshole, even though she's hurt. And I'm not taking away from her pain, but even though she's hurt,
Yes, you
she's
are.
calling in. How?
How is she
Because-
being an asshole? She
No, no,
finds
no,
herself rooming
she-
with what, to all appearances, is a man, and she doesn't.
Exactly.
And the shelter isn't helping her.
Again,
I'm going to see
personal
if I can.
personal experience from shelter. People in the shelter, the proteges, are either extreme assholes or complete shut-ins, and that's perfectly understandable given their circumstance. That's what the shelter is there to accommodate.
I don't even think the
understand that.
request is being an asshole.
like
I understand that.
the argument that as expressed stands if you're talking about a person in the street, if you're talking about if you're talking about somebody who has left their home out of fear for their life to seek protection.
Shelter, right?
Exactly.
So
you're not talking about somebody who is at their. So that's why I said it's a failure of the shelter, of the people working there. They should never have put her in that position.
And
Either of them.
I'm in total agreement with that.
He can room by himself or with another transgender person.
I just have to excuse myself. My supper's on here, and I need to get going, and I feel bad for leaving because I'm the one that started this topic. But anyway, I'll try to listen in anyway.
You're just running away.
It's okay. No, he's not. Don't shit stir, Barney. Come on.
Thanks, Barney. Okay, anyway, I will try listening in. Carry on. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
So
my only issue is, sorry.
So this is what I'm saying. I am not taking away from her pain, but the fact that she's also being somebody who is being abusive as well in her talks with the person. Yes. I mean, like that's that, and I'm not saying that she's being evil. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying that she's being evil. I'm not saying
she called him an asshole. How is that?
Being an asshole is not being evil.
Charge somebody. That's ridiculous.
That's a description
She
of behavior.
Now who's being a snowflake?
I also said that most women in shelters are assholes. That's a description of behavior. As in they act immensely entitled and like you will often like if you help at a shelter, you will often encounter being blamed for the abuse that
I mean, calling somebody an asshole is not discrimination.
Barney's sexist.
Wait.
Go, Barney,
Wait.
you stuck on that landmine.
Wait, I'm a bit confused about the.
No,
So
Have you guys heard that thing like racism is prejudice plus power?
Shut up, Warren.
There's this toxic masculinity in this room. It's crazy.
A wolf.
It's a legit question.
Warning, you go to jail.
I'm going to jail.
Was Warning back in the room? I still have him muted.
No.
No, he's in jail.
Oh, okay.
In jail. J.
All right, we'll be nice to Warren.
Jail.
Oh man, no.
All I'm saying, she's in that situation. One, she did not face charges. Two, she actually used her discomfort about her being hurt, which is understandable, to actually.
I don't care if I was hurt or not. I would not want to be put in a room with a strange male, even if he was a transgender male, to share my bedroom. I wouldn't want a strange woman to share my bedroom.
Just say person then.
If I had to.
Just say person then at that point. It's about the person being the asshole, not the fact of what they identify as.
But it's a women. It's the facility itself serves a theme, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
I'm sorry, but there are limits to this. Public, work, all those kind of things. This is a little bit more personal and up close.
I may be a bit of a hardliner and kind of black or white, but I do know that in certain times, simply the person's genitals will determine. I'm being serious. Will determine their, gender, and I don't particularly have an issue with that. If someone is transgender and they're post-operation and they have the, their genitals represent their identity, I don't really have a problem with that. Now, if somebody is saying they're pre-operation transgender, maybe they have to go through that.
Talking right now.
I got no idea. I hear this like staticky noise. It's like white noise.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Weeds is making a bunch of noise.
Is really, you're really.
Oh, okay.
Could you make out what I was saying or not even?
It's probably the same frequency as the ring in your ear.
You said something about the genitals determining the gender of the person, and I think that's how that works.
I'm a bit curious what you mean by that too.
Can you repeat what your point of contention is?
No, I'm just saying that I think that's an okay policy in terms of gender assignment to just say the genitals are the gender.
What?
Assignment in what scenario?
Talk about like the sex, not the gender. I think the gender might be
just a quick trigger warning here. You are talking to warning good people.
Oh,
no,
this is warning. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to clarify.
Okay, I'm going.
I promise I'm not
trolling. That answers my question whether a legitimate point was made somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to what, like, am I missing some context when he says gender assignment? Does he mean at birth? What does he mean?
I think that's what he means. You got a penis or a dude or a vagina or a chick. I think that's what he's saying.
Rob, you're coming in really quiet as well. You might need to readjust your mic there.
Okay.
So, warning, what were you talking about? What context?
Sorry, I think my phone is, the quality's pretty bad. I'm riding a skateboard on the sidewalk, and it is pretty noisy too. Whoa!
he just ran into something.
So we're going to institute a new rule. If you're on a skateboard, if you are riding a skateboard, you don't need to be skateboarding and discording at the same time because you're going to die.
It's push to talk at that.
Unless you're filming yourself.
I actually kind of regret having him muted right now because I missed this.
He fell off the skateboard.
No, we heard this. Whoa!
Nah, I'm pretty skilled to be honest.
Check the live chat later.
Did he just totally eat it or something?
It sounded
I'm pretty experienced.
Actually, I'm a little bit curious. Like Hannah, I don't want to put you on the spot here. I really don't. But I'm curious about what your position is when it comes to things like transgender washrooms, like transgender in washrooms. Like what do you think the appropriate action would be for that as a woman? Like, do you think that transgender men or transgender women should be able to use women's washrooms, or you don't care, or what's your view on that?
Oh, I think that's fine. Absolutely.
Okay.
Home shelter situation is a little bit different. You're in very close quarters with somebody for a long time, especially sleeping at night with a stranger. I wouldn't really want a woman that I didn't know sleeping in my room. Especially if she, had some super history of some. Been with my eyes open.
Well, she was saying something about combat boots, like walking around triggering her too. In the article, it said.
I think the person should be allowed to go to the shelter, but they should have given her, him, whatever, a separate room. Maybe found somebody who would not feel so triggered.
because it seems
Well, I mean,
like
don't you get into like a crazy? I mean, like to be realistic about this, though, that if you're going to a shelter, on a certain level, you've kind of removed your ability to choose a lot of this stuff. I think that that's kind of like where it gets corny is like, how do you accommodate and deal with reality? I mean, I don't know. I don't pretend to know their policy. I'm just saying that that is a thing that kind of complicates the conversation because again, they like
I think if it was reversed, I think if it was a guy shelter and a woman who physically still looked like a woman was bunking with you, I don't think the guys would have as much use.
Well, the problem with that, first off, is that there's male shelters. I think that there's one in Canada. And that's a problem of its own.
That's a problem. There should be male shelters as well.
That's one of the things that MRAs always advocate for, but always get shot down on.
There should be shelters with both genders allowed to live there, right?
Just segregated.
Oh, to clarify, you said
every homeless person that goes to a shelter is a victim of domestic violence.
To clarify, you said men's rights advocates is what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said MRA. One of the things that MRAs, men's right advocates, one of the things that they do advocate for is the for male only shelters, because I don't know, the majority of domestic abuse cases in their mind, what they cite there, are actually have male victims, and that there's no actual shelter or place for men to go in the case of domestic violence.
Yeah, they're called the VFW here in America. I mean,
yeah, that's true. There's some places here, Salvation Army, I think, and I know we have them here where I live.
I mean, they're not specifically facilitated as that purpose, but I mean, you know.
Right. So a woman's shelter, and Barney will obviously correct me here. They seem to have more experience, or anyone that wants to, but they have networks in place, systems in place, therapists, people that are there to help people through that progress. If your solution, or what you're saying is that, oh yeah, there's men's shelters, all they got to go is go to the homeless shelter, and there you go, men's shelter, done. They don't have the same type of facilities that a woman's shelter would have.
So it's a matter of activism, but yes, our shelter had a psychologist, it had a legal advisor, it had but that's literally the activists that gathered around to do that, right? The feminist group that I was with organized all that, and all the people there were people who came there specifically to MRAs complaining that there are no such places are not setting up those places.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Is that to a certain extent, some of it might just be, hey, here's an issue, let's go on to it, and not actually doing anything to improve it themselves. That's entirely possible. It'd just be a political move.
The feminists did it for women. Why didn't they do it for men? Because they're feminists.
A lot of women come with children too.
Yeah, I'm sending something to you privately here.
The state has a little bit more investment into that.
Did you say you're from Croatia?
Or who are you sending to? Me, Hitler?
Sure, I'll send it to you too, Socka.
Oh, well, if it wasn't for me, then don't send it to me.
Oh no, I'll send it. That's just something I was sending to Hannah because of the discussion.
Quit spamming my inbox with your pics.
Is he sending you dick pics again?
No dick pics.
Socka, no one wants to see your cock, okay, man?
Yeah, I've got a lot of pictures of a headless chicken apparently in my inbox right now. As I'm saying.
Dude, wait, do you dress up your cock in sock puppets? That would be awesome.
Every single time.
Our shelters we have here are from homeless men.
Socka does that every time he crosses the international date line.
And then we have a separate one for homeless
on my website.
Women and families.
So if it's a male taking their kids in, then they'd be accepted because it's for families.
I don't know. I don't work down there, so I don't know. It's possible.
All right.
Because it's really geared for the kids
A
more than
homeless
anybody.
shelter and an abuse shelter. Well, again, here
They coincide
are not,
around here.
are not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
So, can I get a mic check from Wujita?
Whoa, is that the Wujita?
Yeah.
The infamous Wujita?
You unmuted.
Sound like a ghetto ass DBZ name.
Uh-oh. Saw some hilarity. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm right.
I'm getting
Run,
out
Mrs. D, you're live. You're live, Mrs. D. Run.
You're definitely not live right now.
Mrs. D, I thought that was Vegeta. You guys sound alike.
I'm just kidding.
All sound alike.
No, Wujita's gone.
Hey, where's Shadow Heathen been?
Here he is. Now he's back.
Oh, there. Wujita's back.
He's been
You hear me
around.
now?
Yeah.
He's been around.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think so. Somebody else was talking.
Sorry, I accidentally knocked my mic out earlier and had to reset it, so I had to refresh the page.
Oh, okay. So that is the. So, okay. So this is. So now that he's joined this Discord, the next time he gets into a talk with G-Man, he asks him if he's a Dragoon. Now he has to say yes.
Yep. Next time I have to say yes.
Oh, you're part of the Dragoon Syndicate now from being here.
Yep.
I'm here for Warning Goo. Where's Warning Goo?
I'm right here in the Imperial.
I don't know if he's still here. I have him muted.
He is still here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go by the Impala now.
Oh, but you're still Warning Goo to me. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Sorry we didn't get to talk much the first time.
Fine, how are you?
I've been told so many things about you, and I've been waiting to really just sink my teeth into that ass. How you doing?
Yeah, well, you know,
Things
I've kind of adapted a bit.
Hey, Cap, I don't tell you how to run your ship or anything, but from what I understand from Drag, is that Warning Good People put out a very nice apology to him, you know, saying that he was going to be changing his style of discourse when he comes back into the Dragoon chat to actually engage in serious conversation.
That's basically
And
correct,
I believe the same courtesy will be exchanged to him if if he behaves himself.
Okay. That kind of deflates everything now, doesn't it?
I know. I'm a bitch, aren't I?
Uh-huh. How's your TV there, Socka?
Wait, who writes an apology letter? Is this like the old days our grandparents would do?
I don't know. Drake just passed it on to me. Said that he'd apologize. I'm not sure if it was a letter or something. I think he said it was a video.
It's a video.
I guess I'm a traditionalist.
But yeah. So he's here to contribute, and like I said,
Nothing wrong with apologizing.
don't tell you how to run your ship, but yeah, I'm sure that he'd appreciate it if he can be taken care, be part of a serious conversation or something. But up to you guys.
So serious.
So serious. So how is G-Man going, by the way? I'm sure it's so serious, right? Did he figure out what a column was? Or I'm sorry, a pylon in Discord. Did he figure that out yet?
Yeah, luckily everybody was there to jump in and help him set up his Discord. And first ones to join were like 17 Dragoons. So, yeah. I gotta say, you guys really upset Shandy today. I'm very disappointed in every last one of you for helping G-Man.
So she's mad because we helped G-Man?
Who cares?
Yeah, she's very enraged and upset, and we can all go fuck ourselves because some people who aligned themselves with Dragnot decided to help G-Man set up his Discord.
Hey, I was in there like,
That
fuck
is
him.
not true. That is not what happened today.
You know, Drag, she's pulling her funding.
Yeah, oh no, yeah,
shit, man.
She definitely took away her Patreon. Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed.
She?
Yeah,
what a bitch.
I was gonna say now that there's not so much hostility, I was curious to Drag,
Oh, that's funny.
Socka, the military guys,
her money.
how you guys work out your team.
Sorry, Barney, we can barely hear you.
Hold on.
Got to put the microphone further up your ass.
Okay.
Hey, guys, we're here for serious conversation and discussion, okay? I don't want to hear that sort of vulgar language.
You want a serious discussion?
Speaking of serious, what, Mr. Ghost Hunter? You need a fucking signal booster, because I was like, oh shit, it's fucking Ghost Hunter's white boy style. Like, I hear you.
It's better.
Warning, you need a louder on that thing.
So you were just telling me to project from my chest.
Say what you
Yeah,
okay.
talk from your chest. Yeah,
So-
say with your chest.
From the diaphragm.
So
Yeah, sit up in your chair a little more.
you had questions about the military?
That's correct. I wanted to sort of ask you
Don't join.
and what?
Don't join. There you go.
Oh, go join. Sign up. It's a great career.
No. I just wanted to
You'd be a
ask
good
you and
candidate for
Socka,
nuke school.
how do you guys maintain your fitness schedule? Because I've been working out a lot and it feels good to get in shape again. What about you guys?
How much
When
do
you
you
don't have a job, you can spend all your time doing stuff. Like that.
It's a fitness. He thinks I work out. No. No.
No, drag. Whatever.
Sounds like he's here to troll us again.
How is that trolling? I'm just asking about working out. I like to work
We've
out.
all seen Drag eat. He always breaks a sweat.
That was not a dig. I'm legitimately
spices.
I'm
You work out
legitimately
in the
asking
bedroom.
because it's such an intensive workout regimen, I would assume, in the military.
Yeah.
After, how do you maintain?
You don't. Like, there's usually a falling off period where you gain, like in my case, almost 100 pounds because of depression and other things. And so what happens is you fall off the wagon for a while, and then you look at yourself, become ashamed of yourself, and then work back towards what you used to have. But you know you'll never get back to that shape. Because mind you,
I wouldn't say never, but I understand what you're saying.
so here, let me explain. So, I get
There's
what you're
40-year-old
trying to do.
men in amazing shape, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when you look at like the years someone spends in the military, and then them years down the line, that the stuff that you did takes a toll on your body. See, back when I first joined, I didn't have degenerative disc disease. I didn't have bad knees. I didn't have like half the stuff that I have now. And so me getting back in shape means I would need to, like, to get back to where I was, these issues would have to be resolved. I would probably need some cervical surgery on my neck in order for me to try and get back there, because I can't actually do the same things that I did. I was working out 3 times a day, believe it or not, and doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I saw your photo. I saw your photo at one point of you in the military, I believe, and you were all slim and stuff. So that sticks around, and then you end up with extra skin when you lose a bunch of weight too. So
yeah, anybody watches my 600-pound life can attest to that. But yeah, no, it's when you're in, you're kind of required to maintain that level of fitness. When you're out, you're not required to maintain it, so you typically don't.
well, how about Socka then? Because Sokka's like in the military, but he's no longer in boot camp, right?
No, he's in the armed forces.
Yeah, so Socka is what you would refer to as a senior NCO, and his level of fitness is not going to be at the same level of, you know, the 18, 19-year-olds that are already in. But as a senior NCO, he's afforded certain privileges. So if he just wants to knock off work early and then just go to the gym, he can do that. You know, and so what you normally do is you do your
don't share my
PT.
secrets.
Huh?
So don't share my secrets.
It's not a secret. I mean, I was there at the gym with my NCOs. Like, fuck that.
No, I think CRISPR posted a pretty good fitness military.
But I think
photo.
that's
he's got a lot of armor.
I'm never going to be in the same shape that I was in like in my first couple of years. Like I'm not active like doing boarding party stuff anymore. I'm not doing, I'm not getting deployed every other year or any shit like that. I pretty much just I'm an administrator. I work a desk job like anybody else. With like what a lot of people are fit enough to be in active service. The benchmark for that is actually, admittedly not that high. I mean, providing that you exercise physical fitness is an actual hardcore requirement of your job. Generally, things along the combat arms line of things. Like an infantier will always be in really good physical shape.
Most
any
of the
guys that, pardon me?
Like that's most of the time, like if they're like for us, our light infantry, probably one of the folks that are in best shape. But if you're talking like your mounted crews and shit like that, not to say that their job is any less hard or anything like that, but it's just, I guess it's been my experience that the guys who are mostly doing FTX and like with just pure light infantry shit, they're the ones that just because of their job end up being the most in shape.
Yeah, like if you're an armored crew, like and you get to drive everywhere, you're probably not going to be in great shape. It takes a lot of work then at that point in time, and a lot of it has to do with like where like what your job consists of. So like most in the army, for example, PT becomes part of like a daily regime. It's just like, all right, taking a couple hours off here, we're going to go work out. Air Force, I mean, shit, you go home at noon anyway, so you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want. And Navy, Navy's a little more difficult, especially if you're deployed a lot. Like trying to work out on ship, you don't have the option to go run or go for a walk. You get like elliptical machines or oh my god, what I can't remember what they're called.
Treadmill.
Fucking treadmills. You'll generally have those set up somewhere if you're on a ship that has kind of a gym on it. But trying to run on something on a platform that's like moving left and right and all over the places, not the easiest on your knees out there. Every single person in the military's got kind of an expiry date before the time that their knees give out on them, and then they're limited just doing desk job work for the rest of their career.
Yeah, I stayed in my fucking vehicle during most of our field ops because I was like, I stopped. I lost my hool, I lost my motivation, my morale, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to be a scientist eventually. So I said fuck it, and I slept in my vehicle like during like the last few months of my enlistment.
I mean, I've had 2 knee surgeries. I've had like I think the guys in my section there. I mean, shit, we've had guys that have had a broken neck before, and they're still in service. Yeah.
You don't get med boarded out?
No, he's still in. Yeah, it was during his well, can't really talk about how it happened, but yeah, it happened, and but he's still around, and shit, what else?
Whose dick did
he suck? A lot of back injuries. He's an instructor now.
With that broke ass neck.
Yeah. Oh, there's Vegeta. Hey,
people have been talking about stuff.
Okay, yeah, I had to walk away. My wife had called, and then some assholes told her that she was live. So, man, welcome to the fold. So I have not sat down and listened to the conversation yet. I was wondering why Butthurt McGee was making that late night video, and then folks in here told me that you, among other people, hurt his fucking feelings. So I welcome you with open arms. Is there any questions you have for your new Dragon Lord?
How does it feel to just shit on G-Man on a daily basis?
It feels pretty good. It gets kind of boring after a while, and I'm glad that there are folks like you who are taking the initiative to go out and do it, and really, really stick it to him, because the more paranoid he is, the harder I giggle.
What I found funny was, because of his paranoia, was I had started watching you because I started a Packix Hangout, and they started calling me Drag Light, and I was like, who's Drag? So they told me about you, and then I started watching you a few days ago, and then I get my chance to talk to G-Man, and me barely knowing about you is like, are you a Dragoon? But then I was like, and I couldn't let him know that I knew about you at all, because I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Did watching me help?
I did make fun of his hurt PP.
Said one word.
Wait, what channel were you
on? For that discussion, it was on the Raging Atheist.
Okay, that was last night. So where did you first hear about me?
On Jay Packet's channel.
Jay's channel. Okay. Was Jay drunk?
Which time?
Okay, good answer. Okay, so okay, so it's so yeah, just it's amazing because from what I hear, you're pretty effective in not like did you notice? Again, I've not actually watched this yet. Did you notice how when the paranoia kicked in, he would try to sidestep conversation and try to pigeonhole you at any point in time?
Tried, but little did he know that I don't give a shit. I mean, I've known about G-Man for years and I've seen all his bullshit, so I was prepared for it.
Ah, did your research?
Really?
I've known about G-Man since like 2015, so I've seen plenty of his sad attempts at existence. And
That's a good way to put it.
I'm just happy that he won't breed, honestly.
He's got a dirty dick.
That hurt pee-pee.
Now, Hannah, you know if he didn't have a burnt
Do you
pee-pee-
think do you think Hannah's coming on tonight, Drake?
Hannah Zubby?
That was not creepy at all.
Yeah, let's say that we're going to keep Hannah away from you for a while.
Wait, Jewish glutes, is that scientist Sam?
Yes.
Oh, that's a cool name.
So warning, you said you're getting in shape. Like, how good a shape are you in?
Yeah, I mean, even though we beef kind of and we were all joking around, you know, sometimes other people giving you a little kick in the ass gets you in shape, you know. But it wasn't really that. Also, had some other things. But yeah, I'm getting in shape.
Well, I mean, let's. I mean, I understand you're turning over a new leaf, but
all right,
I didn't challenge.
1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2. I'm doing scissor kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Like that.
Barney,
You know?
you're not funny.
Well, no, he's funny the way that Shanny's funny. But
I'll give him points for
did I
trying.
miss did I miss any really good entertaining moments?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
I keep deafening the goddamn thing. No, I don't think so. I was just trying to get to know Vegeta, and I think since you know, retard can't discern the difference between people knowing of me and people like being associated with me. It might be your last time to talk to him for a while, Vegeta. But you know, we welcome you to the fold.
Oh yeah, in the conversation, he blocked everyone in the conversation, so I don't think I'll be talking to him anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just for a little while.
He's blocked me, dude, probably 15 fucking times in the last few years. So he says that, and then he realizes slowly, oh man, if I block everyone, I can't talk to anybody. I want to talk to people.
He blocks you, then he unblocks you and asks you for a debate.
Yeah, that's like, really?
That's his MO.
Yeah, it's like it's and I always point that out. I was like, you are always the one that blocks me. I don't go, oh, I'm so tired of you, and just start blocking people. If I block someone, I do it to piss them off. That's more than likely what it is.
I have my own G-Man, and yeah, you guys know of Jesus. I'm sure you guys have heard of Jesus is Lord, right?
Oh God.
God, he was in there too.
Yeah, he's. I think he's becoming my G-Man, and I'm hoping I can just cut that shit real quick because I don't want it.
Man,
I don't want it.
Let me tell you,
it's your daddy.
Like I did not intend like this week. Talk to what's this fucker's name, Godson Al, and some dude named the Ghetto Guru, and some other bullshit. But this is back when you could do YouTube responses. And so G-Man was trying to get a name for himself, so he had appeared on Drunken Peasants and talked to TJ and all that kind of stuff. And so I used to watch that, and that's how I came across him. So I said, fuck it, this guy seems, you know, a little bit more out there and willing to engage, so I'll engage with him. And then for some weird reason, he and I just started gravitating toward each other, and then we just had a few choice exchanges that for some fucking reason people really like seeing, and then that's what started encouraging us to clash every so often. And then it's this fucking epic drama-filled fucking jizz fest that everybody just waits for, and it's like this shit like this is like the culmination of you know months and months and months of shit talk, and it's so weird. But yeah, people inevitably become your fucking muse. I don't know.
I just call them Brett Keanes. Like, G-Man is your Brett Keane. Jill is my Brett Keane. Brett Keane is everyone's Brett Keane.
Brett was actually being last night. That was weird.
That shit was weird. It was kind of funny to watch Brett Keane just destroy G-Man. That was kind of fun. It was weird.
I heard that Brett Keane was relatively normal compared to everybody else.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, man. But it was just a point I want to reiterate was watching that hangout, and it was just like, man, like, by contrast, Von Houten and Brett Keane seem normal.
Normal, yeah.
That's crazy.
I watched Brett Keane make logical arguments against G-Man and Jill, and he sounded frustrated. I thought, so these two have, their combined autism is beyond what Brett Keane can even understand.
No, it's no. Brett Keane plays the field. Like we call Brett Keane an idiot, but Brett Keane is smart. He's very conniving, and I have to actually give him credit because he knows how to play people. He knows that if he watches enough of my videos, he can kind of pick off certain things that I use to manipulate G-Man, and he's using one of my techniques now. And yes, G-Man, I know you're watching. Yes, Brett, I know you're watching. But
I'm pretty sure I know because I'm actually the raging atheist because Brett Keane is trying to sink his teeth in there, and I'm trying to watch out because I'm just waiting for the moment once everything goes to shit.
You realize you're talking about Brett Keane, and we just told you that Brett Keane's watching the live stream that you're in right now?
No.
You just pulled the Dr. Evil.
Get me $1 million.
No, it's where you reveal your plans to the person, like the James Bond guy that you're about to kill.
Yeah.
And then stand there and waste your time telling them your plans. Well, other shit goes on to spoil it. Yeah. You don't ever do a monologue.
I want him to foil it. I want him to do something different.
Okay, let's be real. I know Brett Keane may be conniving, but he's not that clever. Let's
he's clever when he takes my ideas. He's clever when he does that. Well, yeah. Then I have to give credit to G-Man because it seems lately he's been now he has a Discord. He was talking about having his own, like, he called it jazz, but he would get his own lo-fi hip hop intro. You know, soon you'll see him on Streamlabs doing this shit too. Like I start doing these things in waves so that he can have time to catch up the next thing that I do, so he can copy it.
So are you saying, Drag, when you put on that silly
so when's
cow
gonna
hat,
find a woman?
Oh yeah, let's go.
You then he caught up to you by putting on a suit.
Yeah, Pikachu suit.
That Dr. Evil suit was hilarious.
Yeah. So we're Drag got dressed up and looked funny. G-Man dressed up and looked funny.
Well, I was doing mine on purpose. He seemed genuinely hurt that we didn't like his ill-fitted suit.
He pulled the little pocket square out.
In that video, I thought it was like there's a part where he puts his arm up, and you can just see how short he is by his fucking arms, dude.
Well, he says he's 5'11". Come on.
He is not 5'11".
Not no fucking 5'11".
No, he is not.
That's what he said.
5'4" with them short arms.
The most I would give him, and I know I'm bad at judging people's height.
5'10". No, he said 5'10" or 5'11".
Because so Hannah is about 5'3", 5'4". He's a few inches taller than Hannah. Because we actually have a picture. Hannah's up. So he is a few inches taller than her. So the max he could be is 5'7".
I think she's 5'5" because I'm 5'7". She wasn't that much shorter than I am.
Yeah, because I can look directly down at him.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay.
Non-Bosnian Hannah,
he is. I've met him.
Tell him how big I am, huh? Tell them.
Skewed, man. If you're 6'1", anybody who's not 6'1" or taller is short to you. It's not fair.
Yeah, basically.
Plebeian 5'9" people.
Tall are you, Vegeta?
Yep.
You look like you're pretty tall.
I'm 5'9".
You're short.
He's still taller than Gino.
It's okay.
The last,
I make up for my lack of height in being fucking beautiful.
There you go.
The last course
I'm not gonna disagree
that I was instructing on, my section, like the guys that I was in charge of, they were all like, I think the shortest one was like 6 feet tall, and I'm like, a little bit shorter than 5'11", and it's always funny to have a bunch of recruits that are taller than you.
Not very little either. Sokka's a good size person.
No. See, I understand what Sokka's saying here, Hannah, because what he does with the tall recruits is he lowers the bar.
After the first day, they're shorter than me.
Yeah.
Make sure of that.
Oh, funny, Reese. Funny, haha.
Oh, Reese, you probably got a small pee-pee, but that's fine. People with small pee-pees usually got good tongues, so you can still please somebody.
There you go.
Damn.
God.
Damn, he's
I
coming
like
at
this
him.
guy.
Yeah.
He can stay.
Lou's gonna fall all over the place. Got a thing for brown sugar.
Yeah. Oh, look who's talking.
What? I don't go chasing them like she does and send nude pictures.
You let him come to you.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not thirsty if you're staying still. That's okay. We don't judge you. No judgment. None whatsoever.
I was thinking about helping you design a T-shirt that says Shanning's pussy.
Oh.
Why?
Hey! Too much.
and the
And
answer
then the
for how to
graphic
get
on the shirt will be a pot of hot dogs.
Oh my God! Now I'm grossed out. Oh.
Why am I thinking about Reese's dick? Because he clearly is talking about his dick, dumbass. Fucking retarded?
Yes, CRISPR is retarded.
Oh, CRISPR is far from being retarded.
Yes. No. We're gonna go with retarded.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the redheaded stepchild we keep around. I saw that meme he put. Yeah. I saw that meme he put earlier about combat medics. Fuck CRISPR.
Where was this? I gotta see this.
It's in the Dragoon chat. You didn't see it? The one with the bear.
No, man, I missed it.
Look at the one with the bear.
His message is yellow. Fuck this shit.
Want to be a 68 week combat medic? Not the best.
And the face on the bear.
You don't talk
So
shit
cute.
by the best profession in the military. The best.
Cook?
There we go.
Mechanic?
Combat map.
Nuclear technician.
Mechanic.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
I like the other picture that CRISPR
The
put up there.
betrayal of Dragnot.
Like he put like the one of like that big fucking Samoan soldier. It's simple, we eat the ISIS.
What?
I don't
See
know.
that?
Where is it?
It's scroll up. Scroll up.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Not a joke though. Like if I saw it, like I've been to Pearl Harbor a lot, and
Oh God.
and like, I've gone to a lot of the bars there, and it's like a staple in Hawaii that you have like a 600-pound Samoan as the doorman, and like you don't want to fuck with those guys, you know.
Now, that's my type.
They may not run. Yeah, like they may not run fast, but they got to fucking run by you to get out, you know. And,
That's true.
Wait, you said your type is 600-pound Samoan?
I was joking.
No, you were no. Don't bring it back
They got
now.
the thick six.
I
Drag.
didn't hear
600 pounds
to be honest
Samoan.
with you, all I heard
Okay.
was Samoan, and then I went, oh yeah.
Who said that they got?
Who
600
said
pounds,
what?
I'd be crushed.
600 pounds up top.
That's what somebody. Hey, that's what
Let's
some people
say
like.
20 inches down bottom.
Imagine them titties.
I do like
No,
Islander.
no. I've learned from Wings of Redemption that they have the thick six.
Thick six. Okay.
Yeah, but fucking fat or not, man, that guy still fucking scares the shit out of me.
What does the other
Guy
guy
who
scare
played-
the shit out of you, or are you just like, oh, okay?
Guy who played Aquaman.
What in that picture?
The don't worry, sir, I'm from the internet.
Oh no, that's shit. No. Like the fucking clerk or something. I don't know.
Watch Wings of Redemption, then you'll understand.
Yeah, man. That's if y'all actually wonder what the fuck I
bringing
watch.
up high quality memes over here.
I just like if I want to have conversation with, I'll just talk to them in here, you know. But unless it's something really good, like Ozzy is, I don't know, like half naked chopping something. DSP, you know, tell his audience that they need to pay his taxes, and I'm still trying to figure out how the fuck like he is thousands of dollars of debt in taxes and why his viewer base needs to pay it for him. That's
no wait. You've seen Wings of Redemption. You should already know the answer.
No, well, no. So the difference with Wings is that he's a fucking man-child. Which, okay, to be fair, DSP is too. But DSP isn't telling people, hey, you need to pay for my Ford Raptor, right? There's probably something going on with the misappropriation of funds, which is part of the reason why I'm so transparent with when people donate where that money goes. But the thing is, like, it's like he tells people, like, you need to, you need to help me pay for the IRS is coming for my house or some shit like that. Like, really, dude? What do you think everybody else is doing? Everybody else got a job and they fucking paying their own fucking taxes. Why they pay yours?
He has a job.
Well, no, he's saying that him streaming is a job.
Yeah.
No.
That's where he makes all his money.
Ooh.
Dark Side Phil. The guy that I watch. Well, me and Mrs. Drag. So Mrs. Drag loves watching Wings of Redemption. I like watching Dark Side Phil. We kind of split down the middle.
Oh, I've seen him. He's a goofball.
Yeah, well, Dark Side Phil or Wings?
Dark.
Yeah, he's
Or
interesting.
two.
I'm trying to figure out.
It's the nephew of gaming.
Yeah, where do these women that he finds? Like, how do these girlfriends like Panda Lee and Cat? Where did they?
He makes money. He gives them money.
Before you say that, Von Helton, 3 kids.
Well, I know how he got Mouse. I actually sat and I don't know how many people have actually seen the Von Helton the full story, or I can't remember what the video is, but it's like an hour long and it goes over like everything from beginning to end. And
Can you hear me again?
I watched that.
Von Helton convinced a mentally handicapped 18-year-old girl to move to Kentucky because it was the safest place away from the solar storms.
Ow.
No, that's true. Like, yeah, Mouse is not all there. She's not.
Well, I know that. I know the whole story. I've been around for a long time.
And then convinced her that
But
she
I'm
was
just saying, that's
bisexual.
how somebody like that gets a female to jump in bed with them.
Well, I mean, that's how I got my wife.
Greg, are you saying you told your wife that the solar storms will kill her, and that's how you met her and got married?
No. I met her online, and I told her that my semen could reverse aging, and she keeps trying, but for the life of her, she can't get to work.
Oh my God. Any of us have men in our lives. So that guy probably entices some low quality and low IQ female.
But
Where?
That's the thing. I would say that, but after kind of listening to some of these women talk, like I could tell the one he was with recently, Kat. I don't know if he's still with. I think they broke up, but Kat has an aversion towards him, like an actual. When he puts his arm around, her, you can see her slightly recoil, and just kind of pretend to enjoy it. But it's obvious, like it's really really obvious to everybody that she doesn't like him. But the other girl, the Leanna or Pandalee or whatever her name was, she just seemed Pandalee. Yeah, she did seem a bit off, and I can't put my finger on it, but I have to watch some more videos with her.
There are people that'll move in with somebody just to have a place to live, so they don't have to work.
That's true.
People don't have standards.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
How else would G-Man have gotten the clout?
Personal experience? What? You think I don't have standards? Come on now.
Get back on the topic of how transgender women will have to, and push of shape, to have to rely on sex work in order to survive in most cases.
Well, yeah, that's a common thing. The trans woman that I met at school, she talked about that before her transition.
All right, I'm back again.
Yeah, she was doing some stuff on the streets of Houston out here, just to get by until she actually spoke openly about her meeting another trans person and then being essentially pimped out by this trans person who, took her in and you say, oh, I'll show you how to live out here and how to survive. And once she realized, she was essentially being pimped, then she managed to kind of break away from that and eventually found her way to, she was on a talk show. Or no, it was on a reality TV show. And goddamn, I can't remember her name. I have a picture with her on Facebook, actually. I can never remember her name. I'm searching through my photos. Hold on. Mia Ryan. That's who she is. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So that person.
That's the person who. The trans person. I thought you were talking about the person that was living with Phil.
No. This is a trans person I got to actually know, because I didn't know a whole hell lot. I knew about Chrissy, but Chrissy's a weirdo, and so I'm just kidding, Chrissy. You're not that weird, but this is the first trans person that I've had in like real life to kind of sit down and talk to, and just to kind of not ask all the weird questions like you sit down when you pee, and all that stupid shit, but just trying to ask about more so like not like non-traditional questions, like what do you get tired of people asking you? What are things people should avoid asking trans folks? That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a dumb question. He peed, and he's very much a map.
Sometimes you gotta take a shit and take a piss at the same time. You gotta sit down and piss.
That's what he said.
That's it.
Yeah. No,
why waste the time? Get it all done at once.
Depends how drunk you are. Okay. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead and end this. I need to be more productive. Thanks, folks, for attending. We're going to have an official induction ceremony for Wujita, just to piss off the grand retard later. So you want to just come and hang out and chat? It's not hang out. The Discord links out there. Catch y'all another.